Okay, this is Dustin, just because he signed it. Hey, Semantic Bors, maybe that's supposed to be boys. Got business-related question. Did you ever hear about legal problems when using the address of VirtualBox or local person you know to receive the GMB letter? I was wondering because aren't you registering the location for a real business? Well, no. I mean, if you were to, all right, I'm not an attorney, guys. So if I would highly recommend that you consult an attorney if you're concerned about any of this. But the way I look at it is, you're not, when you register a business in Google, it's not like registering a company with the state corporation commission or anything. It's not like registering a company with the IRS, right? So there's not, it's not an official agency. It's Google, right? It's a search engine. So you can register anything you want there. Now, there are times I've had this happen. I had to have one of my clients actually, the case study for the local GMB Pro course. It's a taxi service. We had to contact Google to have an existing verified listing deleted or taken down because the business owner didn't have access to it. And so we created the new listing, which was also at a new address, a new physical location. We created a new Google My Business listing and then contacted Google support or Google My Business support to tell them what the situation was, that there was an ex-employee that had created and verified the old or the existing GMB profile, and that it was no, they didn't work for the company anymore and we didn't have access to it. And also the company had moved to a different physical location, same city, but different location. So we needed to update all that. So the reason I'm saying all this is because in order for them to because it was a verified listing that we were asking to have removed and update to a new one, they required corporate documents. So we had to literally submit corporate documents to Google to show that the business indeed exists, and that it's a valid business. It had an LLC, what do they call it, articles of organization or an operating agreement. They also needed to see the updated physical address. So in other words, they had to see corporate documents with the new updated mailing address, right? And so just consider that it's not a legal issue, okay, to register a business in Google. Google might require legal documentation. And if that's the case, then you won't be able to do it unless you have that legal documentation. But when registering your company or business with, local agencies, state agencies, or federal agencies, then yes, you're going to have a real valid business. So if you're doing lead gen, guys, here's one of the ways to get around that if you need to. If you're doing lead gen and you're establishing quote unquote fake businesses, right? Or pseudo businesses, as another term for it. Generic brands, okay? If you're setting up like lead gen properties where you're creating a pseudo brand, right? Then what you can do is if you have an entity, a legal entity, a corporate entity. So if you're an LLC or incorporated, whether it's an S Corp, C Corp, whatever, then you can actually register that pseudo entity as a DBA or doing business as. So that essentially it's your corporation. So for example, my corporation is Big Bamboo Marketing, LLC, right? And so I have DBAs for several of my lead gen properties because that way even if Google asked for corporate documents for a lead gen property, I can produce the doing business as certificate from the county. And it cost me, I think, $13 or $14 to register a DBA. And that's all. You just go down your local courthouse and ask for a DBA form wherever your business is registered. You go to that courthouse, wherever like my agency, it's registered in Culpeper. So I go to the Culpeper County Courthouse. I tell them, hey, I need or clerk of the circuit court or whatever. And I tell them that I need a DBA form. I fill it out with the lead gen pseudo business or pseudo brand that I'm putting, that I'm saying, is a business. So that now is Big Bamboo Marketing doing business as. And so that way, if Google ever requires me to verify that corporate documents, all I have to do is submit the DBA and in my operating agreement for my LLC. Does that make sense? So it's not an issue. So that's what I would recommend that you guys do. You don't have to do that all the time, guys. But like, for example, I mean, I've got a ton of lead gen properties out there I don't have DBAs for. I'm not going to lie. But, if in case there was a time where I needed one, like Google required it, then I could always go down and get a DBA and then submit it. Okay. Any comments, guys? Should I move on?
Good to go.
Okay. That was a great question, by the way, Dustin. A really good question.